What's up, everybody? And today we're over here with Painless Performance, Andrew.
How's it going?
And he's gonna show us around.
Yes, sir.
I've been wanting to come over here for a long time because one, I love checking out American-made products, and two, I use Painless. So what's better than that? So we're gonna walk inside and show you guys around. All right, so now we're gonna go in and to make sure everybody is nice and safe, we're gonna keep our masks on. And Andrew, what do we got over here?
So this is just kind of the main office area. Previous years was cubicles where the techs were, order entry, kind of the management team, all that stuff. As busy as we've been, we're producing chassis harnesses here now. We're moving fuel injection into here. We have a big building, but we're definitely having to utilize it to the max. So.
Nice.
So right here's some of our SEMA boards from previous years. That one got run anew by someone, so the switch panel's kind of hanging, but just gonna hang everything up so people kind of see what we do when they come in and check stuff out. So.
Heck yeah.
And these are gonna be the tech samples. So when you do, call in, you get one of our techs that are gonna be in these offices here. Not sending you, to a call center or anything. And one cool thing is we have all of our harnesses here, so if they do need to go reference something and compare a picture to, what a customer has and make sure everything looks good, we have all of our samples here so they can get their hands on the physical harness and help identify and work with the customers on all that.
Nice. I just to point out to the guys, so this obviously it's not a truck chassis, but one of the things that I always found cool about what you guys do is you supply all the little pieces.
Yeah.
That most of the time you'd have to go and find it, and the only time that you know that is when it's like 1 in the morning, you're trying to install your harness, and it's like, I don't have any butt connectors. Why don't I have any butt connectors?
Yeah, we give a bunch of the little things you're gonna need and more than you're gonna need as you do it. So you always have extra. I have a ton of these little things that I keep around that I just need for, electrical projects all the time.
Oh yeah.
As we walk through here, this will lead to the true production area, and actually I'll go to our warehouse first and then we'll kind of work through from there.
Now we're over here in the warehouse.
Yes, sir. So yeah, this is where we warehouse all of our items. Kind of with what the demand has been, a lot of times it's going into a shipping crate and going right out the door as soon as we finish something. But we usually do a pretty good job of keeping everything on hand. We don't do any direct sales ourselves, so it's not, as adamant, or we're not as adamant about it, but
Summit should have it.
Yeah. Summit, Jegs, Speedway, Motor State, we're pretty much anywhere you buy your stuff, you're able to get it.
Awesome.
AC Pro does a lot of our stuff, so CJ Pony. So yeah, so a lot of this, like I said, it's pretty much guaranteed to be going out really quickly, or pretty much as we wrap up a production run, it's going out the door. So
it's a lot of wire.
Yeah, and this is all the finished goods, and right on the other side it's not really anything exciting to necessarily show, but that's a lot of our raw goods stuff.
Okay.
So our bulk wire, we get terminals, all that stuff when it gets received in. Sometimes we store it over here.
I love the boxes, how loud they are.
Yeah, thank you. That was one thing that I redid, all the ones that are super brighter ones that I did recently, trying to change it up. So right here is going to be our R&D area, so anytime we're developing a new product, we can do a ton of research and kind of engineer and design everything on paper, but then we get the cars in for our installation manuals. Most of our manuals are 100+ pages long, so we take photos for those, do the install, make sure everything fits right. Generally we'll do 2 installs depending on the vehicle. So have a new Tri-5 harness coming out, so we've had a 55, 56 and a 57 in, kind of fitting, making sure everything's good with them. And then we're working on some Mopar stuff. Mopar's kind of tough, but we're getting there. We'll have kind of a Pro Series harness for those guys. It'll have, any connector and anything we can get for them. So.
Sweet. Here's where the magic happens.
So right here's all of our raw inventory. So this is, when a work order comes through, first they'll go here, and they'll start packing away all the terminals, the fuse blocks, whatever that needs. If it's a run of 25 or 50, then 25 or 50 of every part ends up in one of these boxes.
Okay.
Then they end up going to the assembly side of things. And right here is all of our wire, which we kind of changed up how we do some of this stuff and have it on rollers and move it around a little easier. Yeah, and I'd have to go look at I don't even know this year. It's kind of crazy when you look at how much we do per month as far as footage of wire, but it's I can go with my production guy. He may know off the top of his head. So,
dude, it's stacked.
And we buy all solid color wire. So if I'm trying to see where I can go without getting in the way. If you see the ducting and everything back over there,
yep,
that's a wire striper. So we do all of our striping in house. That's one reason for like the Ford guys, we're the only ones to do the Ford color coded harnesses, because Ford did so many obscure striped wires that if you were buying it as a separate wire color yourself, you'd have so much inventory, so we're able to stripe to order.
Nice.
So we basically, these little rolls lots of times are kind of the obscure stripe stuff that goes to Ford only.
Nice.
And then we have our wire cut, wire print right here. So all the wires are printed on them. We do all that in-house. As they run through this machine, it'll print where it's going, where it's coming from, and a 3-digit number. So with back to your manual, you can always reference and see everything. But so they cut out for a work order on everything. So they cut out, and then these trees, one cool thing, they'll show the finished good number. So right here, 10114, that's 66 to 76 Bronco. But a cool thing, our production manager has a window there, and he can kind of just poke his head and see where along the line in production that work order is, or that part number. I don't know if this will pull up on me. You can kind of see. One thing, we print black or white, just depending on the color of the wire and everything, to make it as easy as we can. Yeah, once it goes through here, like this one's already gone through. This will be our square body harness. This has already gone through termination, so basically it leaves there, and then we have a ton of different pneumatic crimpers and everything. So we'll go through, crimp everything, and get ready for it to load into the fuse block and pre-terminate for the connectors and all that, so the harnesses are direct fit.
I always find it so cool to see like how stuff are made, because when you buy it, you don't really pay attention to any of that. You know, it's just like, oh, it showed up in a box.
Yeah.
And then when you actually see it, it's like, all right, 2 dozen humans have to physically put this together for me.
Yeah, and I mean, we do the pneumatic crimping, which they're not running through a bunch. I mean, they do it super quick and they're efficient, but I mean, there's no automated way to do this stuff. So it's very labor intensive. Yeah, it's done all right here, obviously, you know, in Fort Worth here. So as these trees come around, these ones have already been all pre-terminated. Then they'll go work their way through to get, depending on the product, if it's small parts, relay kits, things like that, it'll head over to these areas to be produced. They're doing some switch panels back over there right now. Right here, they're loading in fuse blocks. This is, I can't tell exactly which part. That's a 67 to 72 pickup, so they're preloaded in the bulkhead connector and everything. So they'll load all these, then they end up leaving this section. They'll kind of coil them up as they're done. They'll just go into these, and then they move down this direction. And then all these boards, they're basically like a blown up AutoCAD drawing, where they know exactly what wire needs to span where, and then they'll zip tie everything together. That way when the end consumer gets it, it's not just a box of spaghetti. Everything has a purpose where it's going.
That's very cool.
Especially with the direct fit stuff, with it being pre-terminated and having connectors on it, they put all those on at the same point. Didn't have the best way through. My bad.
No, you're good. I'm like a kid in the candy store whenever I go to a factory, so.
Yeah. This is right here. Not exactly sure. This is 205, so this is going to be a square body 73 to 87 harness.
Okay, so. Still a truck.
Yeah. We do a lot of the 66 to 77 F100s, the Ford trucks, the Bronco, early Bronco, and then we're hopefully going to come out with a Ford Pro Series harness. It'll have all the connectors that we can get, but we leave it open-ended for the super custom builds, like smoothing your firewall, doing all that stuff, where you're not going to want all the connectors. You just want to kind of fit it down, you know?
Yeah.
So we should have something like that coming pretty quick too.
Sweet.
We'll move back around to the small part. And this one, you can see it has the connectors and everything put on. This is going to be a 67 or 68 Camaro harness, Camaro Firebird. So it'll have the connectors installed where a lot of the universal stuff's open-ended. It's kind of meant to go in a little bit of everything.
That literally just plugs right into everything how it's supposed to be.
Yeah, everything except we leave the engine stuff open-ended. We don't know what engine you're doing, but for the most part, it's plug and play as it can be. Cabin-wise, everything. Yeah. And so right here, you were kind of mentioning the bug connectors and stuff like that. So these are small parts where they assemble all these kits and everything. Yes, this is kind of the end assembly. That's a completed harness there where they're ready to go into the box, and they add in the small parts and everything.
Nice.
And it's crazy. I have no idea how they coil them. I've tried.
And you can't figure it out.
Because I'll shoot. I mean, I'll get a new harness for product photos, and I'll lay it all out and everything, and I go try to put it back. It's just like,
can't do it.
It's not happening. So yeah, and this is really kind of the end deal where they put everything in the box at the end. It gets quality checked, make sure everything's there. One thing I didn't mention earlier are installation manuals. So, like this is kind of a universal based one, but I mean they're a truly bound book. Depending on the harness, our direct fit stuff's full color all the way through. This one's going to be full color on the the wires, but some of the stuff will be black and white, just picture wise, when it's not pertinent to the
color code.
But
that's very cool. That's the worst thing ever, is when you open something up that's color coded and you can't freaking tell because it's in black and white. It's like, okay, which shade of gray is this red color?
Yeah. So I mean, everything right here. And the nice thing, like I said earlier, we got that 3-digit number, so this will tell you, like, this is that 915 wire. And if you want to go reference it towards the back, we have the alternator section, or the engine section, all this. It's split up into the sections that the harness is split into, but it'll tell you the wire number, where it comes from, what its purpose is, so it's really easy to reference as well.
Nice.
Let's see if we have any EFI harnesses. A lot of this. We have one laid out. So the fuel injection stuff's a little different. Obviously all the connectors are already applied to everything. One thing we do with this, we have these test boards built for each and every EFI harness we do. We have a computer that goes on, and then we plug it in. We basically reverse molded or CNC'd these connectors, because there's not a female version of these. It's a map sensor. It's not. So we basically made a reverse mold of everything, and we plug the harness in, and it tests continuity and resistance. So we know every wire is pinned out correctly. We know you're not going to be chasing down issues with that, or mispin coil wires and firing something when it shouldn't. But also, because we test the resistance, we know that it's seated in the connector properly. So doing stuff like this is the reason we're able to do lifetime warranty on our fuel injection and chassis stuff. But it helps so much on the tech side of things that we know when it left here, everything was pinned out correctly.
Yeah.
So.
You go back, reference who QC'd it, type of deal.
Yeah, and I mean, when you run it through that thing, it detects it instantly. If something's mispinned, it tells you where it's mispinned. They'll fix it, run it again. I mean, rarely stuff is mispinned, but if it is, when it makes it to this point, we know. So
that's awesome.
And that's really the bulk of this area. Sorry for the mass of things being shipped in and everything. This is going to be, we actually have this production quality printer that does all the manual binding and everything. So we invested in this deal about 2 years ago, because our focus has always been the manuals.
Yeah.
We're constantly improving our manuals. We have a technical writer. That's his job, is just either improving old manuals or working on the new product manuals.
Nice.
And honestly, since we've improved some of our more popular harnesses manuals, our tech line has switched from being majority tech questions to being more like, what part number do I need, more sales oriented.
Yeah, because now you can just look it up. You don't have to ask a million questions.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people do read the manual when it's that much nicer, and I mean, they at least have a better idea when they do call the tech line as well.
Absolutely. So. That's very cool. And probably was a good savings too, because I'm sure, print costs are expensive.
Yeah, it's definitely not cheap to do the manual still, but it's well worth it. I mean, we've always set out to have the best installation manuals in the game. and we've doubled down on that the last few years. So.
Awesome. That's for everybody that's watching. All right, just finished up over here at Painless. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And you guys make sure to hit them up if you need something, and make sure to check them out. It's painlesswiring.com.
Yeah, Painless Performance, painlesswiring.com.
Painless Performance or painlesswiring.com, and they pretty much have something for everything, and I recommend them. You know, they're on most of my trucks, not this one yet, but I actually need to switch my harness out. But if you guys enjoyed the video, consider giving us a thumbs up. That really helps. If you have any questions, comments, drop them down below, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.